I'm Alexis Nunes and welcome to a new game show on ESPN called Mute Me. The concept is pretty simple. We've got some of the sharpest minds at ESPN and they will be debating some of the hottest topics in the sports world across 3 rounds. Simple again, they've got 60 seconds within which to present their points. However, if the other panelists aren't feeling it, they can mute them after 15 seconds. I also can mute anybody, anytime, with my golden mute. However, I can only use it once for this show. Guys, are you ready? Let's get to know our panelists quickly. She's the best thing to come out of the Emerald Isle since Westlife. It is ESPN journalist Kathleen McNamee. Secondly, he is a man that faced a very tricky over from the spin legend Shane Warne, and he loves his tea very weak. Andrew Miller of ESPN Cricinfo.
Weak? How dare you?
And finally, if you bully him, he will bully you right back the educated way. He's our resident VAR expert here at ESPN, Dale Johnson.
Hi there, Alexis.
All right, let's get right into round 1. This is where you guys will present a topic of your choice in no random order. Dale, let's start with you. What's your topic?
My topic is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will not make Man United great again. Right, so Man United appointed Solskjaer thinking this man that knew the club would be the perfect antidote to Jose Mourinho. The problem is he's tactically inept and he's totally inadequate to manage a top club. They've won from behind once in the last 15 months since he was appointed permanent manager. They can't beat teams in the bottom half of the league, which means he's got absolutely no plan B. And at the moment, they're only 5th in the Premier League, which might get him in the Champions League, and that's only if Manchester City are still banned from Europe. He's got no idea how to set his team up to really take on the best teams. Yes, he had that win at Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League last season away from home, but that really was an absolute one moment that's shown true class. He's come from he's had a good run since Bruno Fernandes was signed, but last summer's transfer market was so poor, it left him so short from. He had to wait.
Oh, mute him. He has been muted. Honestly, I'm surprised it took that long. Kathleen, you were the first one, so why?
I just think you're forgetting everything that he has actually brought to the club, considering the position that United have been in, that he's brought back faith into the club, everything that went on with the Glazers. The fans were not backing the team. When Moisey came in after Ferguson, everyone was like, oh my God, what is going on? This is awful. He's the first manager that's actually come in and then been there for a sustainable amount of time. He is building something. And I think it's nice that Manchester United are actually finally giving a manager the time to build a proper team.
I see Dale's itching over there. Let's unmute him because he's itching to come back in.
You say that they're giving faith back to the fans, but these are the fan base that in the earlier part of this season said they're a relegation battle, and when they played Tranmere in the FA Cup, they thought they were going to lose. So that's not exactly a fan base that's got faith in the man that's leading their team, is it?
I thought the premise was a bit weak because it's obvious it's a true premise. There's nothing to be said for where Man United are at the moment. They're yesterday's club.
I will just refrain from putting my opinion in this one. Let's move on now to the next round. Why don't we just go with Kathleen? Kathleen, what's your topic?
My topic is sport is only for the elite. Sport is only for the elite because of the sheer amount of money that has gone into it in the recent years. We have seen over the coronavirus pandemic that people are perfectly happy to let lower leagues lie because of the money. This means that it's only our top clubs that are now performing, when other clubs are actually the ones that probably need to get the broadcast deals and need to get more money in are left to languish. We saw that particularly in England with the Premier League and the WSL. An amazing opportunity to bring sport to the forefront, but it didn't happen. On other levels, it's so expensive to go to matches now. The average ticket price is going up year after year. If you're a young sports fan, you're not going to be paying the amount of money that it takes to go see like Manchester United, Man City. Games are going further and further away. We're taking main finals and we're putting them in faraway countries where people can't actually travel to them or afford it. If you want to watch a match on free-to-air TV, you can't. You can't if you want to watch rugby, if you want to watch football.
Oh, she's been muted. It's true, you can't watch on free-to-air TV unless, of course, a deadly virus pandemic hits, and then, of course, everything has to go free. But Dale, you went first. You muted her. Why?
Well, I'll say there's definitely merit in what she had to say because sports become very expensive to follow and to play. But the bottom line is that without this investment that's come in from outside sources, stadiums wouldn't be getting better, pitches wouldn't be getting better, facilities in general, training facilities, all these things would still be as bad as they were 20 years ago. So while it is more expensive, that level of increased cost has brought a lot of benefits.
Finally, Andrew Miller, what is your topic?
My topic is that sport was better when the players were rubbish. So, what are we looking to get out of sport? Is it pure escapism? Are you looking for a fantasy of athletic showboating? Or are you trying to make a connection with your heroes? And I say absolutely, wholeheartedly, the latter, especially if you're a kid looking to get inspired to get off your PlayStation molded behind and get out and do some exercise. So take rugby, for example. Now, when I was a kid, it was my favourite sport. I was short, I was fat, I was slow, I liked mud, and I liked hitting people. So I was in the front row. One of my mates went through puberty early. He was obviously a second row. Another guy was short and wiry, liked burrowing into things. He was the scrum half. And then you've got the nauseating git who's talented.
Andrew's been muted, golden mute, because I don't even know who wants to watch rubbish people playing sports. If I wanted that, I'd probably just go outside to the park and have a look at all my mates there, or just continuously watch my brothers. Guys, what do you think?
I just think it's the same thing as like singing in the shower. You think you're great when you're playing. It's not, when you're out in the pitch, you're not sitting there going like, I can't kick that ball like Messi. You're trying again and again and again. And even if you manage to hit the target once, you're like, unreal, look at me go.
But you have to see it. You can't always just watch rubbish people. You want to see Usain Bolt, name drop, run 9.58 seconds, even though we know none of us are ever coming that close. You need to see Michael Jordan walking on air just to know and be like, yep, that's done. You don't want to see Bob from down the road trying to like shoot a 3-pointer or something. You know what? I think that Kathleen, you came in strong in this round. Girl power for this one. I felt your arguments. I felt your rebuttals. So I'm going to give Kathleen the edge in this round. So let's move on to round 2. And here's another round where you guys will bring in another topic. However, once you state it, we're going to tell you why you're wrong immediately. So in no specific order, let's start with Kathleen then, since I was waxing lyrical about you right now.
Thank you very much. So my topic is we need to accept that everyone in sport is doping and there is no point in policing it.
I'm shocked, Kathleen, absolutely shocked. On the one hand, you're saying you've got to do this for the kids and get it back for the kids. Think about the kids. I mean, take my daughter, for instance. Last night, she came down because she couldn't sleep. She came down and I was watching Breaking Bad. Now, do I want to have to explain the plot of Breaking Bad, say, oh, yeah, some naughty people trying to make some methamphetamine, which is really, it's a naughty drug and it make you feel really nice, but it'll make your teeth rot and fall out and make you do unspeakable things for cash. Now, it's not the sort of thing I want to do at the start of the 100 meters final. So I have to go down the list. I say, oh, yeah, well, he's been pumping up the human growth hormone and he's up to his eyeballs in testosterone and he's steroided up to the eyeballs. And I don't want to have to explain that. I want to have purity. I want to have escapism. I want to believe in the sport that I'm watching. And sometimes that involves suspension of disbelief for the sake of the people who are watching it.
Well, I think it moves the whole strive for excellence from the training pitch and natural ability into a laboratory. It just means we'll be producing robots to get better and better and better, pumping all manner of all sorts into people's bodies just to try to make them go that little bit faster. And I think once you start doing that, it's no longer a sport and it's just like an exhibition process.
I take both your points, and I do believe suspension of belief is a great thing to have in sport, but the pure fact of it is that we have gotten to the point where we are suspending belief, where we're not even accepting that this is absolutely rampant across sports. My point is, if we let it all go, make it all legal, and then we rebuild from the very, very beginning. You look at Brian O'Driscoll did an interview with Off the Ball where he was like, openly admitting that he had watched people popping pills before every single game, even if it's just a couple of paracetamol to help with the shoulder pain or something. This is across every sport, and continual data has shown us that people will still watch sports that they know are rampant with doping. So why don't we just take it back, take it to the very beginning, say to people, look, we know you're doing this, tell us what you're doing, and then rebuild our structures, because what we're doing at the moment is simply not working.
To be fair, I'm for an Olympics where we could just see who has the best doctor. Just let them all go and just see the doctors behind them and just see, if anyone's running 100 meters in 5 seconds. Why not? I think that opens a complete can of worms, though, that I'm not trying to get into. So let's leave this topic and move on to the next one. Andrew Miller, you are the next man up. What is your topic?
So my topic is that trying to outlaw bad behaviour on the pitch is patronising and stupid.
Okay, well, I'm just going to jump straight in there and say, a second ago, you were arguing that you don't want to have to explain to your daughter why people are taking a certain amount of drugs and stuff. But like, do you also want to have to try to explain to her why a player feels like it's okay to go up and bite another player and we're not going to say anything about it, or why it's okay for them to make rude gestures on the pitch? And again, like, it's hardly patronizing to discipline people. As you said just before, like, we should have discipline. There should be some sort of regulation on these things. So surely it would apply the same here. And it's not patronizing to tell someone this is wrong. And I think that's somewhere we fall down a lot in sport, in that we are very afraid to turn around to our big heroes and go, that is wrong. You cannot do that. And I think it's something that we need more of rather than less of, if we're taking your arguments from before.
Let's unmute Miller, because I think Kathleen just ended him right there, but I'll give him a little last gasp if he wants.
So it is a fair point, but at the same time, you want to have representation of real life, and real life isn't just tippy tappy step overs. It's pain. There's agony involved in real life, and I think just to try and pretend that you can just let the Messis and Ronaldos waltz through your defence and not do a 2-footed tackle from time to time is not.
So actually break their leg and actively allow that for fun? I don't want to see people's legs over there and their bodies over there, Miller. Goodness.
You don't watch rugby then? It happens.
Even in rugby, there's a certain parameters you have to stay in, or else you leave someone's hip over there and the rest of their torso there. My 2 golden mutes would have gone straight to Miller today. Dale, what is your topic?
VAR will eventually be good for football.
I think you look at the sports that do have things like VAR, you have tennis, you have rugby. Fans expect it and they get into the moment with it, whereas football fans don't like VAR. They don't like having those few seconds or minutes waiting to see what a referee is going to decide. Like, the stadiums go quiet, they're standing around, they're annoyed, they're checking their phones on Twitter to see if anyone else has a better idea of what's going on. It may get better but in the next few years, but at that stage you're going to have lost the fans completely, and no one is going to want to even listen to how it might improve the game.
Well, eventually, when everything is done properly, you look at it in the Champions League, you look at it in the World Cup, it's a completely different system that's being used in domestic leagues. It doesn't really impinge on the game. All the decisions are quick. They don't mess around drawing all the different lines for an offside decision. It's all done far less intrusively. Now, when we get down the line in a few years, there'll be less decisions being taken, they'll be much quicker, and you will not be seeing these really close decisions ending up with goals being taken away. So while I agree right now there are major problems with it, I'm probably largely because people hate referees. And so a referee changing a decision and taking a goal away is only going to make people hate it. But if that can be got right, if that can be streamlined, and we get to a position where people see it's actually working well, I agree we're a long way off, then it can be good for the game.
We know that if it's one thing not to argue with Dale about, it is VAR, and this is definitely something that probably we should continue at a pub. And I think Dale just definitely on this one. At a pub, even though we can't go on. But speaking of pubs, that brings us to round number 3. This is our quick fire round. I want you guys to close your eyes for a second. Imagine that we're in the pub. Nice, happy drinks are flowing, and we're going to throw some topics out there, and I want everyone to jump in. Put your hand up first if you want to take it first, and then everyone else will jump in right after. Are you ready? Topic number 1. What's the most dramatic goal scored in football history? Oh, Andrew Miller went first. Andrew.
And Solskjaer has won it. I mean, that is absolute iconic moments. It's not just a culmination of an incredible comeback, the culmination of an incredible season that included the treble, included the Ryan Giggs nonsense goal, included everything that went into building that moment. I mean, Aguero's moment was incredible, but I think as a culmination of final full stop on a season that hasn't been repeated yet, I think that takes the biscuit, frankly.
Next topic now. I think Andrew Miller will be loving to get into this one, but we'll see whose hand goes up first. Which is the best sporting stadium in the world? Let's put up Kathleen's hand is first. You have 30 seconds on the clock before everyone can jump in at you. Start.
It has to be Croke Park in Dublin. It is the 3rd biggest stadium in Europe, and it is the biggest stadium in Europe that's not for a football game. It has entirely incredible historical relevance. There was shootings in there. There are little stands named after players that died.
Oh, she's been muted. Dale, you went first. Why?
What's this about the shootings?
We have Bloody Sunday 1920 when the RIC came into Croke Park, killed players on the pitch. Now we have stands named after them. You cannot beat walking into that stand. You feel the history around you. You feel the excitement of being 80,000 people for an amateur sport as well. Like, the relevance of that stadium is just, it crosses all boundaries and is one of the most exciting places that you can ever go to for a game.
The only boundary.
Someone shouting, "Go on, Bubbles O'Dwyer!" Like, Bubbles, grown man's shouting Bubbles. It's just, you can't beat it.
The only boundary it doesn't cross is the boundary that the rest of the world cares about, because no one watches Gaelic games. It's sort of...
Oh, fighting words.
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't in the world. It wasn't in Ireland.
That was an amazing round, guys. Amazing couple of 3 rounds. Thank you so much for playing. We can only crown one winner in the end. And for me, it is going to be Kathleen, because I just love the fact that she kept her Irish pride. She came in, she dropped history, she dropped dates, she dropped lines, she dropped quotes up against you guys. And that is an absolute queen move. Kathleen, congratulations. Still congrats to Dale and Miller for, participating and putting up a good fight. And thanks to everyone for watching. Hopefully you join us on another episode of Mute Me.